What's up, everybody? For the past couple of years, I've kicked off the year by focusing on Funko Pops that I hope to see in that particular year, and I'm doing the same thing again here for 2022. Now, I do want to go ahead and say up front, I'm not going to focus on figures that are obviously on the way. Like with Demon Slayer, we know they're going to do Rengoku. In fact, there's already been a rumor of a glow-in-the-dark Rengoku being on the way. So I could see at least two figures for him coming out this year. And then Spider-Man No Way Home, it's the largest movie in the world. I mean, come on, obviously they're going to do more figures based on that particular movie. So I'm just going to be patient with some things that are pretty much obvious. In this video, I'm mainly going to focus on things that are somewhat questionable, and I will, as I go along here, try to let you know what I think is the likelihood of these figures actually happening. So let's go ahead and get into it. So I've had this on my list before, and I've been kind of back and forth with it, but I decided to go ahead and say again, I would like to see some Afro Samurai figures. And I know this is a long shot because I just don't know how large the fan base is, especially after all these years, and there hasn't been another follow-up to the original series. Of course, they had the original, I think it was like 5 episodes maybe, that was on cable TV, and then they did have a follow-up movie, and that's pretty much been it for Afro Samurai, outside of a pretty weak video game. And I think there may have been some manga as well. In fact, it may have been based off of a manga to begin with, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, there just hasn't been a lot going on with Afro Samurai recently, so I know this is very slim chance, but I would be so happy if it happened, especially because there are some Afro Samurai figures that are out there, but man, they are so expensive, and I guess it is because they're so difficult to find. So yeah, this is a very slim chance, but something that would make me very happy. Now, I know that Funko has had, or may still have, the license for Street Fighter. Maybe the Pops just weren't selling well though, because it seems like they just stopped all of a sudden. You know, they had the original run of figures. They did a lot of variants of certain characters, especially Ryu, Ken, and Chun-Li. They got their share of variants. Yeah, and then it just kind of stopped from there. And there's some characters that are obviously missing from that line that would be really awesome to see. I especially want M. Bison. M. Bison, I know there's not a lot of backstory to him, but I like playing the character. I like his look. I think he would make a very cool looking Funko Pop. Guile not being in the original run was kind of a surprise. You know, Vega would look pretty awesome as a pop figure as well. So yeah, I don't know what's going on with Street Fighter. Like I said, you know, maybe they just didn't sell well enough, but if they ever get around to doing some more of those figures, that would be pretty cool to see. And I do have the Akuma Pop. I really do like the Akuma Pop, and I don't know, I might be tempted to go back for some of the other Street Fighter figures that have already been produced as well. And Mortal Kombat, you know, since we're talking about fighting games, definitely got to focus on Mortal Kombat as well. And what Funko has done with Mortal Kombat thus far has seemed a little bit odd, and maybe it does come down to NetherRealm being very strict, or Ed Boon being very strict about which characters get figures, because you know, they did some popular characters like Sub-Zero and Scorpion, and then they ended up doing like some classic versions of some of the same characters they'd already made, and then of course they did the movie ones as well. But there are so many Mortal Kombat characters, and a lot of characters that seem obvious just don't have pops yet, which is very surprising. So yeah, I would definitely like to see more with Mortal Kombat. And you know, I mean, Funko obviously likes to do repaints, you know, so when it comes to like the Cyber Ninjas, you know, I mean, and ninjas in general, they could definitely do some repaints of some characters pretty easily. Johnny Cage definitely needs a pop, but I hope we don't have to wait for a sequel to that movie, you know, the 2021 movie, which I'm not the biggest fan of. I thought it was just kind of so. He was teased for the sequel, so. But yeah, like I said, I hope we don't have to wait for a sequel movie to get a Johnny Cage pop. I'd rather have one based off the actual games. I think Kano's another obvious character. Shao Kahn is another obvious character. They could also do some figures like Kung Lao and have maybe their Revenant version as a chase. That would be pretty awesome, you know. So like I said, there's definitely some more things that they could do with Mortal Kombat. So fingers crossed that they will make more use of that license. Now, if you've been following the channel for a good while, you might be thinking to yourself, this list sounds pretty, you know, familiar so far. And yes, there are a lot of things that are still on my list because they still have not been produced just yet. But there are some new things here as well, including Dream from The Sandman by Neil Gaiman. Of course, it does have a Netflix series on the way. I would prefer a comic book version of Dream. I mean, they've already done his sister Death, which seems like that kind of came out of nowhere. But yeah, it would be nice to get a Pop of Dream based off the comic, but I think more than likely we're going to end up one based off of the Netflix series. So yeah, I think Dream is on the way. It just may not be the version that I necessarily want, and maybe some other people feel the same way that I do. You know, we'll just see what happens with that though. Ragdoll is another character that I would really prefer a comic book version of. I know that he's been featured on The Flash on the CW, but yeah, I mean that version of him is cool, but you know, his clothing is kind of plain Jane and nothing too spectacular. I think he always wore a suit if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I really would like a comic book version of Ragdoll, but I know again, it's very slim chance with this particular one here, just because he's not a super popular character, and even though he was on that TV series, I still think he doesn't have like a huge fan base necessarily, but it's just a character that I've enjoyed reading in the Secret Six comics, so that's really how I became a fan of Ragdoll. Atrocitus kind of has a chance, and I do like Dextar as well, and I like them as a duo. Basically, of course, you know, they are Red Lanterns, and I say they kind of have a chance because, I mean, recently Funko out of nowhere did an Injustice version of Doomsday, and of course these characters have been featured in Injustice, so you never know, it could happen. And I really do like the design of them, and you know, whether it's the Injustice design or comic book design, and of course they've had different looks in the comics and they have different looks in the game, but these two together I think would be very awesome to see, and I think DC fans in general would appreciate that. Etrigan the Demon, another character that I really would like to see, you know, from DC, and he has been featured in some animated movies recently, so you know, I think he's on the radar a little bit more, and if Funko really wants to expand to different DC characters, he has a chance. I mean, we did get Deadman, we also got Spectre recently, so you know, I think a lot of people didn't really see those coming necessarily. So yeah, Etrigan the Demon could actually happen, and that's one I definitely would buy immediately. I really hope that Funko is not done with the Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad was my favorite movie of 2021. I really enjoyed the movie. And as far as the Pops are concerned, we got Ratcatcher, but I should say, to be specific, we got Ratcatcher 2, but we did not get an unmasked version of her, which I really would like, you know, and I don't know if Funko would do like a full other wave of the Suicide Squad, but if we could get maybe some exclusives here and there, I'd be happy about that. And yeah, this is one that I really would like to see. But I know there's been a lot of talk about how the movie underperformed and how the franchise might be dead as far as, you know, the Suicide Squad films are concerned. So I don't know what's going to happen, but it would be nice if this one did come out. And then also based on the Suicide Squad, Starro would be nice to see as well. As a matter of fact, it'd be very nice to see Starro as at least a 10-inch pop. I don't think they would do an 18-inch pop of him, but at least a 10-inch pop of Starro would be very cool. And I mean, the paint job, because of the way his colors are, they could go ahead and do a blacklight paint job on him, which would look amazing. And I just like this character. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot to the character, but I like the way that they handled him within the movie and actually gave him a little bit of depth, you know. So yeah, those are two pops based on the Suicide Squad that I would really like to see. Now, I know you're thinking Peacemaker, yes, he was in the Suicide Squad as well. Of course he was. But, you know, now he has his own series that's about to launch on HBO Max. And because he has that series coming, I really hope we get another version of him with a chrome helmet. That helmet really needs to be chrome. Now, it would be nice if we got him with the gun as well, but I know it seems like DC and I don't know if it's coming from DC or Warner Brothers directly. I don't know what is going on there. But it seems like, as far as the Pops are concerned, and with some other figures as well, and statues also, that they just don't want to see characters with guns, which is kind of annoying because that's a big part of some characters. Like, you know, that's some characters' main weapons. So yeah, I don't know if we'll get Peacemaker with the gun, but at least a chrome helmet would be nice. And then if they did that, I'm sure they would do some other characters from his series as well. At least one other character. I know there's a another like superhero or vigilante, I guess I should say, not superhero necessarily, but another vigilante on that team. As a matter of fact, the character might be named Vigilante, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, we'll probably get a pop of him as well, but we'll see very soon here because the series is about to kick off. So if Funko has anything based on the series, I think we would see it very soon. Now, switching over to Marvel, Funko has been looking obviously for some different things to do with Marvel. So we've had the Venomized pops. I don't know if we could necessarily count the blacklight ones. Those are just different paint jobs. But yeah, we've had the Venomized ones. We had the Mech Strike figures. So Funko's definitely looking for different things to do with Marvel. So yeah, I think that 5 Ronin is somewhat of a possibility. Maybe not the strongest likelihood, but I did read the majority of the graphic novel, like the collected edition. I didn't actually finish it. I really do need to go back and finish it though. But some very interesting designs, and of course these are some popular Marvel characters as Ronin, sort of samurai style. They are pretty cool looking designs. I think that would be an interesting, just a single one-off wave of figures. I think it could be pretty cool. So again, maybe not the strongest possibility, but it would be pretty awesome to see. I think especially the Wolverine figure, that one would sell very well, I think. And Deadpool could be very interesting as well, especially if they focus on this cover design there where he has all those arrows in him. Yeah, that could be pretty cool. And Funko's actually done something like that with the Ninja Deadpool, where I think he had an arrow or 2 in him. But this one is even crazier, even crazier design. So who knows, could happen. Maybe a long shot though. Now, Hulk, this is one that I've wanted for years, and I still think it is a possibility. Even though it hasn't happened yet, I still think this one is a possibility to get a Mr. Fix-It Hulk. I mean, Hulk in a, like gangster attire would be very interesting to see as a pop figure. And again, Funko is always looking for different things to do with Marvel. So if they decide they want to do something else with Hulk, this could be one that they would go for. Again, I even though I don't think Marvel is as worried about guns as maybe like DC is. And again, I don't know, it actually could be a Funko thing. Maybe even they are trying to steer away from guns some, I don't know. But yeah, I don't think we even need Mr. Fix-It Hulk with guns regardless. He would just look cool in that suit. Now with Marvel's What If, I don't know if Funko is really done with this franchise or not. I hope they would do some more with it, based on this particular series. Now with Ultron, of course, we do have Ultron pops, and this particular version of Ultron, I guess you would call him Infinity Ultron, but I really would like one of him with the mask raised up. And I know that pops have very simple faces, but still, I would like one with the mask raised up where you could really see that it's that vision design, beneath. I think that would be pretty cool to see. A future version of Hawkeye would also be really awesome to see. That seems like a no-brainer in my opinion. Now, of course, we do have a pop of the Watcher, but it would be very nice to get another variant of the Watcher, especially like a 10-inch variant. And if they did like a galactic, sort of paint job on it, I think that's what people tend to call it, a galactic paint job, that would be pretty awesome. It should be nice to see a variant of the Watcher. There's really actually a lot of possibilities with the Watcher. As a matter of fact, they did those Avengers pops that I call them the Jolly Ranchers Avengers still. They kind of look like candy, but they have the solid colors and they kind of have the sparkles on them and whatnot. I don't think I would want to see the Watcher exactly like that, but something similar to that actually would make more sense with him than maybe those other characters. So, we'll see if Funko does anything else with What If. I don't know if they would do like another full wave, but maybe we could get some con exclusives or something like that. And then, yes, I know a lot of people really want to see more done with X-Men. There is a lot of possibilities because X-Men, obviously X-Men is up under Marvel, but like X-Men could be like just a whole franchise to itself. There's just so many characters linked to the X-Men, both heroes and villains. I still really want a version of Quicksilver based on Days of Future Past, and of course I know he was in those follow-up movies that were pretty bad, but yeah, that version of Quicksilver wearing that particular outfit, I would really like to have that again. I love that Quicksilver scene in the kitchen in the prison so much that that's what really got me to go see that movie twice in the movie theater, just that particular scene. It was really awesome. So yeah, I really want this version of Quicksilver, and they did do a lot of other X-Men figures based off the movies, so this one, it could happen. And then these other characters, I think, Omega Red is actually rumored to be on the way, and I think that rumor is going to pan out to be legit. it would make so much sense for them to go ahead and do Nightcrawler. I know they hear people screaming for it, so yeah, we definitely need a comic book version of Nightcrawler. I know we had the movie version, and the movie version is pretty cool, especially the exclusive, but yeah, we need a comic book version of Nightcrawler as well. And then it would be nice to see some other villains like, you know, Silver Samurai, a Sentinel, of course, a Sentinel being at least a 10-inch figure. And if it was 18-inch figure, and even if it was like a limited number, I think a lot of people would appreciate that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing a lot more with X-Men. I know some of these are going to happen eventually. Bloodborne is absolutely my favorite video game of all time. It's something that I've definitely put some thought into and really thought back on the games I've played throughout my life. And yeah, Bloodborne is the one that really stands out above some of the others that I'm a big fan of. And Funko actually did do the Hunter, you know, the main character from the game, I guess you could say, even though he does have some customization to him, you know, and he doesn't even have to be male necessarily, you know, so but yeah, they only did that one pop, and I really don't think they intend to do any more. So I know this is very unlikely, but there are just so many great character designs, you know, with allies and villains from this game. It would be nice to see some more, like you know, I believe her name is Lady Maria, the doll, Eileen the Crow. Bloodstar Beast is probably the #1 like creature that I would like to see from the game. And I know there's even more awesome characters than what I'm showing here, but yeah, there's a lot of potential there. You know, from the fact that they just did that one figure, nothing is on the back of the box, you know, no other potential figures. It just seems like they're moving on. But yeah, I'd be very happy if it happens. But yeah, this is very slim chance. Still bugs me that with Coraline, we did not get YB, and there is potential to do different versions of YB, you know, and I like that character. So yeah, kind of surprised me. I don't know how well the Coraline pops sold. I know that movie definitely has a following. A lot of people are into it. So I don't know if Funko plans on coming back to it or not. But yeah, if they did YB, I'd be very happy with that. And I like I said, I really feel like he needs at least 2 versions of him. Whatever Funko decided to do, I just feel like he would need at least 2 versions. But yeah, I would take what I can get when it comes to that particular character. And then with Alice in Wonderland, of course, they just celebrated an anniversary, I believe, with Alice in Wonderland. So there have been a lot of figures that came out recently for that particular movie. And I think they could do more, including a giant version of Alice. And I feel like they need to do something along with that figure to kind of represent the scale of her, like give it a base with some small characters around her, or just something, you know, to really represent that scale. I think that would be pretty cool. So because they've done so much with Alice in Wonderland, and I don't think they'll be done with that franchise, that particular movie, I guess I should say. I mean, I guess it could be considered a franchise with remakes, but yeah, I feel like this is something that could happen. All right, let's focus on horror here for a moment. And Puppet Master to me would make so much sense for Funko Pops. I think this series does have a pretty good following. You could call it a cult following, I guess, but I think horror fans do appreciate these movies. I especially enjoyed the first movie, and then I think it was maybe the third that really stood out to me as well. I don't even know how many there are at this point. It's a good number of movies, I think, at this point, though. But yeah, I mean, they're puppets, you know, so they would translate so well to Funko Pops, and I think they have some pretty cool designs as well. So this is something that could happen, you know, especially if Funko really wants to expand on horror and not just keep redoing the same characters over and over. Then yeah, Puppet Master could happen, and Puppet Master I think would be pretty awesome. Now Candyman, I know that we just had the 2021 movie, which was okay. It was a bit heavy-handed with its messaging, but I think it did have some strong elements to it. And of course, we did get some Funko Pops based on that movie, but you know, I'm sorry, Tony Todd is still the man, and that's the version of Candyman that I really want as a Funko Pop. And I would like to see more than one version of him as well. You know, if they had one version of him where he's opening up his coat and like showing all the bees on his exposed ribs and all of that, you know, get a little gnarly with it, basically. I think that could be really awesome. And like I said, Tony Todd is the man, so to me it would be only right to get a pop of him as that particular character. And maybe it could happen. I mean, I think it is a possibility if Funko decides, you know, especially if Funko decides to do a Funkoween and they really try to do a lot with that, then, you know, maybe we will see Candyman pop up there. Now, I'm not totally against variants of characters that have already been done. And yes, I know about all the litigation and everything that's been going on with the Friday the 13th series, but I'm still holding out some hope that eventually we could see Jason X, or some people refer to him as Uber Jason. That's just a figure I'm really hoping happens eventually, whenever things are finally settled with all the rights and all of that, to this particular franchise. And then with Freddy Krueger, I know there's super cheesy moments in the movies, but Super Freddy, and then also Freddy with the power glove, they're just such silly, over the top moments that I think they'd be pretty interesting as Funko Pops. And I'm assuming that Funko, still has the license. I guess so. I'm not really 100% sure about that, but yeah, those are some variants of Freddy that I would like to see. If you're a big fan of Freddy Krueger, definitely let me know if there's any other particular variants you would like to see. I think some people might like Freddy, like maybe with the long stretched out arms from the first movie, which is still kind of crazy to me that that's one of the first looks you get at the character, him with those extended arms. So some people might like that, but yeah, just let me know what else you would like to see with Freddy Krueger. Now I'm moving on to, I guess we could say, Pop Rocks here, because, and it's a shame it took me so long to become a fan of System of a Down, but yeah, I've kind of recently, in the past couple of months, really given their music a listen. And yeah, it's really the lyrics that really got me. I mean, of course, the music sounds incredible, and that does, that did pull me in. But what really made me a fan is the lyrics. Like, some of their lyrics are just like straight up poetry. It's amazing, and like I said, the music just sounds so good. So anything that Funko did related to System of a Down, whether it's a pop album, or if they did, the band all together, like just whatever they do, I'm going for it, So I really don't know enough about this band to know if this is something that they would be down with or not, so I can't really say what the likelihood is. I would hope, with so many music artists that have pops now, and some that are actually being vocal and saying that they want pops of themselves, that this could happen. And like I said, anything they did with System of a Down, I would definitely go for it. And you all, finally, and I know that this has been rumored before, but that rumor was floating around like over a year ago, so I don't know what's going on. And I would assume with the WuTang Clan, I mean, there are 9 members there, and there's other people that are tied to them as well, so maybe it's not so easy to work out the rights to them necessarily. But I would really love an Enter the WuTang Clan, 36 Chambers pop album. And then, of course, I would also like some pops of the individual members. Now, if they went crazy and they did a 9-pack, I'm buying a 9-pack. If they want to do a 10-pack and throw Capadonna in there, I'm going for that as well. Like, whatever Funko does with Wu-Tang, they got my money, basically. But, as far as some particular members are concerned, I do think that there are some members that have more standout looks than other members. So like with RZA, he went through that period where he was wearing the pointy rings, especially when he was with the Gravediggers as well. That's sort of the look I want to see with him, like the way he kind of looked in the Tragedy music video. Method Man, if they went all the way back to the original Method Man video, the way that he looked there, I think that would be a good look for him. Now, Ghostface Killer, they got to do Ghostface Killer right. Him all glammed up with the fancy robe, the Tony Stark robe on. Him with maybe the eagle on his arm and all of that, the giant medallion. Like, they really need to go all out with Ghostface Killer, basically. And then with Old Dirty, and I do feel like Old Dirty's estate would be cool with figures of him. His son actually tours with WuTang Clan, and he raps with WuTang Clan. He actually performs his father's parts of songs. So like I said, I think his estate would be okay with it. And if they did Old Dirty dressed up for the Grammys, where he interrupted the Grammys, I think that would be cool. If they did him in that crazy jumpsuit for his second album, I think that would be cool. Just, there's definitely some different things they could do with Old Dirty. Old Dirty was wild. So yeah, there's a lot they could go for there. And with Wu-Tang Clan in general, there's a lot of possibilities. But yeah, like I said, I just hope that rumor eventually pans out to be true. I think it's a possibility if the paperwork can be done right, I guess, on Funko's end. If everything can get worked out rights-wise, then yeah, there's some potential with Wu-Tang Clan. So that is my list of pops that I hope to see in 2022. And I'm sure if I sat and really thought about it, I probably could add to this list, but I'm gonna, just stick with this for right now. And I definitely want to hear from you all. What are the pops that you hope to see released this year. Now, we already know that there are some rumors floating around and there's some early looks that we've had of figures, but I mainly want to hear from you. What are those possibilities that you have in mind that are kind of maybes? Even your long shots, share those as well. That's what I really look forward to reading in the comments. I definitely appreciate you taking the time to check this out, and I will talk to you all again real soon.